Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I'm, of course, Nick McDaniel, and as always, I am joined by my buddy Myron.
Hi, I'm Herschel Savage, and welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. What do we got to talk about this week, Nick?
Tons of stuff. But, you know, there's obviously a big story that broke we're going to get into. You know, Myron, maybe there should be a conversation about it on patreon.com/tappedoutpod. That would be interesting to say the least.
Well, the thing is, our patrons will be getting our discussion about it before it ever happens on Dynamite Wednesday night.
Right. So that's kind of the cool thing is you always get the episodes early there at patreon.com/tappedoutpod. And you'll get those shows early. Take a listen and hear what we thought about the big story. But let's first, before we kind of talked about what we're going to do new every week as we kind of stroll through here now. We're going to get into just, a couple quick hits, what we saw on television, what we, like, didn't like, just random thoughts. Call it the weekly wrap up, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
As you can obviously see, that'll obviously be one of the topics that we will discuss. But do you want to start there, man, since that was the picture?
Yes. I want to go ahead and say I predicted it would be Samoa Joe that came through the forbidden door, but it was Keith Lee because plans change.
Right.
Yeah.
Plans change.
I was wrong. I'm not going to say I was wrong, though. But they brought in Jay White to break a forbidden door. Jay White is a great asset to any wrestling promotion. But Keith Lee went out there and Keith Lee. Nice. Helps AEW, in my opinion.
Yeah, look, the debut was good. They got a good reaction. I mean, look, he's backed into his wheelhouse. I'm hoping that he can maintain that spot. That's the big thing. Like, being brought in hot's one thing, but staying up, on the top is another. Ask Adam Cole. But hey, look, Adam Cole's getting a shot coming back around the cycle. So kudos for Keith Lee. Hopefully he's used correctly and he can rise the ranks and be a world champion in AEW, because that was never going to happen in WWE.
And please don't tell me about it if he doesn't get used correctly.
Right.
Folks, we don't book these shows. We don't understand how these shows are booked. They book it to draw money. You book it for your childhood
I might
fantasy.
beg to differ on some occasions.
Well, on some occasions. But let's hope it works out.
Because, listen, SmackDown this past week, I'm the biggest SmackDown guy for a long time. I just thought that show was a lot of talking. It was like a 2-hour infomercial for Chamber, and it wasn't even the go home episode.
Oh.
So, and it's crazy is they taped this Friday's episode, so it's not probably going to be other than the big spoiler alert. Hey, I'm going to give a spoiler that they taped, so skip ahead for about 30 seconds starting now, because obviously Sami Zayn was crowned the new Intercontinental Champion. That will air on SmackDown. Listen, we're gonna get Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania apparently for the Intercontinental title.
Wow, at least I'll get a chance to go poop during a very long show.
Listen, it'll draw the casual fan base, Johnny.
That's the thing. We have to look at it. Remember, folks, this is not booked for just me and you and as a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
It's booked to be a spectacle that draws eyes to the product. WrestleMania saved the company when Vince McMahon had to mortgage his house to run the show, and they got Cyndi Lauper in, and it was a whole big spectacle. It's always going to be a spectacle. It's always going to be something different. It's always going to be reaching out for the rock and roll connection or that magic again. So not for us all the time, but maybe it'll work.
Now, I tell you who was, and it was booked that way, was one Rhea Ripley. She was a workhorse. Just 44-minute gauntlet match through Raw. Proved, in my opinion, somebody in the back should say, look, if she's not up to WrestleMania, if she's not in the title picture, right? She has to be after Mania.
Yeah, I would say so. I just fear that she's going to become the Intercontinental Champion of the women's division, basically the workhorse. Maybe the Greg Valentine, maybe the guy that just holds up the entire center of the women's card. But she's got star power, Nick. I think Rhea Ripley brings an appeal that the average wrestling fan can get behind. The unaverage wrestling fan can get behind. My daughter, who likes music where people cry and people with tattoos and all the other things, can get behind. She's a generational change in
Well,
women's wrestling.
she has the look, she has the ability, and
Yes.
she can work a mic. She's getting better and better.
Yes.
So I think that's what we learned. I think I'm hoping that match on Monday, that gauntlet match, was another one of the moments where people got in the back. Not us. We all saw it, right? We're all like, tons of people are fans. Or hey. I'm hoping the people in the back realize, okay, she's special. Look, we know we're booked through Mania at least, but after that, we got to get her back in the mix. We've done enough.
Yeah.
I don't want to say bad things, as far as the angle with Nikki and stuff. But
well, everybody has to do that weird tag team angle.
well, I tell you, I don't
That's
ever see it happening with Mr. MJF. I know he's got his entourage with Wardlow and Spears and all them, but no, he's just proving week after week after week, and he continued to do so on Dynamite as well, that he is the heel. And I honestly think that the problem is that he is, when he says what he says on the mic is true. He's better than everybody else, and they know it.
Has anyone been as well spoken a heel since Ric Flair? I mean, this guy has it all. He can tell you about his riches. He can tell you about his talent and his good looks and everything else. And then he backs it up in the ring. To me, he's the second coming of Ric Flair. He's 25 years old?
Something like
so we have
young, yeah.
We have, if we work him on Flair mileage, he's got another 50 years before he starts posting weird pictures of him dancing in the bar with Hulk Hogan's daughter. Please, Rick, get some help, buddy.
So yeah, I agree. I think MJF's got a long run ahead of him. I know you're an Impact guy, so the bad news.
Yes,
it was weird because Josh Alexander is on Impact, and then it felt like a day or two later we find out he's no longer with the company.
And all of a sudden he's not got a visa, so he can't work Terminus, and he can't work ML. I can't remember what the other show was. He can't work. So who knows?
It was AML out of the
AML. Okay,
yeah.
The Terminus and AML, two great Southern shows. I would love to gotten to see him at Terminus. I mean, this could lead into different storylines. I know it's hard to get back and forth into Canada with COVID and all the other problems we have, but is this a work? Is it a shoot? Is it a work? Is it a shoot?
Oh, no. This is all legit, man. He's done. I mean,
that's sad because, this guy is amazing.
I have an easy
We got to
answer.
get him back on American TV.
Can TK or Vince sign this guy so then he gets a visa issue squared away and he'll be able to work?
Well, apparently signing with Vince or TK is a big issue right now for someone else.
That is correct. That is, of course, one Mr. Cody Rhodes. All of the scuttlebutt to, he's leaving WWE or he's leaving AEW. He's going to WWE. Who the hell knows, right? Nobody's is sure. And that goes back to your joke that you said a second ago, right? It's like,
yeah.
Is it a work? Is it a shoot? Nah, it's blah, 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 blah. So here's my thing. Because we're literally recording what we're not even a full day into this at this point, maybe.
Not even, and Rampage comes on in 2.5 hours from
Dynamite
right now. Dynamite, yes.
Yeah. But if here's the funny thing is, if it's a worked angle, wrestling, in my opinion, may have officially jumped the shark as far as being too inside baseball and basically playing to such a niche audience. Because remember, folks, as much as we like to think outside, right? This would solely be an IWC angle. Like, nobody outside of, like, no casual fan, like, honestly probably knows or cares. So you're just, and I get it. I understand but it's so cool. They worked everybody.
Did they?
Yeah, because immediately, because the first thing everybody said when it happened was, it's a work. So then you didn't really work
It's
anybody.
a shoot. Well, I see these every time somebody denies something's a work, to me, it's like somebody denying a fart in public. It means you're the one that did it.
Right.
I keep seeing AEW people who are made people. So it's not a work. No, I've been in wrestling 20 years and this is not a work. To me, that makes you just think it's a work. Okay. I don't want it to be a work. I don't want it to be a shoot. I like Cody Rhodes. I just want him to wrestle. I don't want to see him in polka dots, him and Brandy like Dusty and Sapphire. But who does this appeal to, Nick?
Well,
when I talk to the person at work and tell them, hey, Cody just quit, or Cody's not coming back. And they're like, oh, wow. But then they ask me about his reality show. And then they ask me about his variety show. And
well, here's the thing, Myron. Like so let's take out. That's all under the assumption that it's some type of angle they're running. I shared my opinion on if it's an angle. I think you went too inside baseball, but that's just my opinion. Now, if it's real, then it's a real like what the fuck moment, right? Because now you're like, okay, so he's left. Now here's the thing. It's his contract was up in December per reports. And he's just left. He didn't get fired. He didn't get released. They just couldn't come to terms of an agreement. TMZ is claiming that there was some type of a falling out between them. And listen, there's all kinds of he said, she said, or speculation, rumor and innuendo, as they like to say. And it being something as simple as this. I mean, we've had our theories, and we're going to keep them short because we don't know what's going to happen. Look, he brought in Bryan Danielson. Tony Khan, by the way. He brought in Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Adam Cole, Keith Lee now, and on and on and on, right? So eventually, at some point, what are you paying these people? And now
did the money run out? Did you go out and draft a quarterback and draft a running back and a wide receiver, but you lost the money to pay for your right tackle? All of a sudden, your right tackle is incredibly important because you've got a new quarterback, but there's not enough room under whatever this wrestling cap is to sign Cody again.
Now,
because there's a cap.
I will put it to you this way. If because I don't believe this is why, but if he didn't pay him any more, if Cody wanted more money and he's like, I can't pay you anymore because, and I don't want to call it a cap, but yes, kudos to Tony Khan for finally saying, I don't have an empty checkbook that I can just keep throwing money. At some point, I have to draw the line and say, I'm not paying anybody more than whatever I think they're worth. I don't think that's the case.
Well, yes, that's where we're going, because if we understand this correctly from everything we've read, Cody wanted to be a coach, not only the left tackle.
Well, it wasn't just coach. Cody wanted to be like he was of the Bucks, Kenny, Hangman, and Cody. From what you see from the outside looking in, I don't think any of the others cared about. And when I mean power, I don't mean like the power, the emperor kind of thing. I mean literally like I want to be able to book. I want to be able to run this, like help essentially run this wrestling company as an homage to his father. Like he
invested in the training school in order to train and bring through wrestlers.
But that's not that. But that's not it's not an official AEW school per se.
But it's his school.
It's his school. But,
okay.
Yeah.
So Cody was wanting to help educate and bring wrestlers up. He clearly wants to be more involved. He clearly wants whatever the book or he wants general manager, if we're going to use another football term. Is that what you do? You say either give me this amount of money and power, or give me this big amount of money and no power. It's kind of an even deal.
Right. And I think that's essentially what happened is once the power was gone, then probably the request for money increased. And that was probably the case. So, so now listen, Cody leaving has pros and cons, and people don't want to, the pros and the cons. First of all, let's start with the pros, right? Look, what did we all say when they're bringing all these guys in? There's only so many spots at the top.
Yeah.
Well, what him leaving? What does it do, Myron?
It opens more spots at the top.
It opens up a spot at the top, exactly. So, I mean, again, that's a pro. I mean, a lot of people think that's a bad thing, but no, I think it's a good thing. Now, the good for Cody, if he's not going to have the power, he's not going to have any of the book, he's not going to get the money he wants, then maybe he's like, man, you know what? I want to go back to WWE. I want to fix my legacy there.
And what's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Why is that in the front? Why is it so bad? Show me on the doll where Vince McMahon touched you. Why does going to work for WWE have such negative connotations? Where here, we're going to give you money. You're going to be on the biggest stage in professional wrestling. Why does that make you hate Cody? Why is that a bad thing for Cody? If you love something, set it free. If it comes back to you, it was yours all along. If not, maybe they got a bigger contract.
Right.
Okay.
And look, the other positive, it's funny. I like Cody, but AEW won't miss him being gone in the sense of the talent. Like they'll just shift pieces around and stuff.
They've got golden talent level. They might miss his personality. They probably will miss his creative more than anything else, and his guiding light.
Could be.
Though Tony has done a really good job running things since he took the book back away from the EVPs. But I think you need Cody with him. Okay? I think you need guys like Cody and QT with him to help keep him in the wrestling frame.
Right.
More than you do to get him in the ring. He's better. Cody is better for them backstage. He's better for WWE fronts, out in the ring.
I have a theory about what he has to gain from WWE, but we'll focus maybe that if he does go next week. By the way, again, we're recording prior to Dynamite. Yes. So, and there's so much time for this to evolve. So whether it happens or not, this is all in the assumption he legit has left. That's the preface.
Well, what happens? What's the bad if he leaves?
Well, what you were just saying, I feel like they do lose a leader in some point, like a leader in the back, teaching, coaching, of course, a top star, somebody that they could plug and play, insert into a main event level match and, be a draw for them. Cody was that. Whether he was going heel to the fans were turning on him, whatever, he's still a draw. But, the crazy thing is again, if this is true and it's not a worked angle, I also think, does this also set the table to prove that the stories of like, oh, they were kind of having a falling out in the back, with the EVPs and stuff, maybe this, leads a little bit to that. And of course, thirdly, could it open the door for more people to exit? If Cody goes over there and he's just like, look, this was not all that was cracked up that it was going to be. Promises were made. Promises were, by the way, I'm saying if at the beginning of that. And he went over there and say that. I mean, look, Brian Cage might say, you know what, Cody's right, damn it, and he leaves, and then so forth and so on. Does it open the door? I think there is a little bit of damage done if Cody does make that jump to because him being in the position he was in. I do think it just, it does damage the AEW brand a little bit.
Because whatever happens, this could be the best start of a new faction ever.
Could be.
Imagine Cody and Brian Cage go to WWE and form a new faction that's like an invasion type angle. Or they go back to AEW and they do something crazy there. Folks, enjoy it. When it gives you the opportunity to see your wrestlers do something different.
He could do what he did before he was in AEW, go back out on the indies and do like the super indie tour. He's buddies with Matt Cardona.
Cardona's killing it, man.
Yeah,
Cardona is killing it right now.
I mean, how about that?
It's possible.
What if there's phone conversations, Myron? I'll give you this. What if there are conversations of he's frustrated. They took his power away. He's not getting, what he wants at AEW. And Cardona's like, dude, I'm happy. I'm killing it. I'm having a blast out here. And Cody's like, man, just, you know what? He's right. I just want to go back and do that.
Let's just take our hot wives and buy action figures and get belts and travel all over the country and go to beaches I mean, Cardona and Chelsea were in Disneyland Paris. How cool is that?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like Disneyland, but the thing is, if I could just get up and go to France after winning a title, he has the NWA belt in France.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, but that's what I'm saying, man. But it all goes back. Maybe he's just gonna be, he's gonna go out there, bet on himself, and like literally say, like, look, we're gonna bet on ourselves, and we're gonna get a deal. And they make, like I said, they could work a deal, they could go back. But man, betting on yourself sometimes is a good thing. Like our friends over at Prize Picks.
You still working on this?
It's 2 minutes to kickoff. Who do I pick?
2 words, Prize Picks. It's so easy. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy. It's just you against the numbers. Simply pick the over-under on 2 or more players, and that's it. You can win up to 10 times your money in just one day. Join over 150,000 people who found a better way to play. Download the Prize Picks app today and get your first deposit match up to $100.
People out during the big Super Bowl, didn't you, Nick?
Yeah, I
What
did.
did you think about it?
Well, I won money, so I was happy. So that's always
Was
a
it
good thing.
easy?
Oh, it's super easy, especially on the app, man. Because it's all like prop bets, which is people don't quite understand. So, all we ask for you, of course, to do is, gamble safely, be responsible, don't be crazy. Make sure it is betting. So always take care of yourself. But speaking of guys who need to take care of themselves, Myron, here is like 6 of them that really need to be careful this weekend as we head into Elimination Chamber. Especially with those 2 guys in the front, man. Those 2 monsters.
Yeah. This is going to be kind of crazy, man. Saturday, they're going to be in Saudi Arabia, and they're going to be doing the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. How many stars they got in there, Nick?
6, man. You got Brock, Seth, Austin Theory, Matt Riddle, AJ Styles, and Bobby Lashley. Of course, as the champion, and it is for the WWE title. Brock Lesnar outright saying he's going to go in there, win this title, so he can go on to WrestleMania and make it title for title versus Roman for the Universal title. Speaking of Brock, look, we've covered Elimination Chamber, so I'm not going to beat that one up, but we're not going to go match by match. Check out the Pat McAfee show on YouTube. Brock Lesnar was on there earlier this week. He's hysterical.
And I have heard other people corroborate this thing about Brock Lesnar being hysterical and a funny guy.
Yeah.
Have we been wrong this whole time? Or was he a wrestling character?
He was getting to be himself now. I mean, he is funny. Listen, other things we want to cover, obviously, look, Goldberg's going to fight Roman Reigns. I just don't see it. I see Roman picking up the W there because obviously heading to Mania. We'll get into some rumors about Goldberg here shortly. The Women's Elimination Chamber match is for a Raw Women's title shot at WrestleMania because, of course, Ronda's already challenging Charlotte there. And so you're going to have Doudrop, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Nikki ASH, Bianca Belair, and Alexa Bliss all in. Yes, Alexa Bliss has returned. Bianca Belair will enter last. Any picks, Myron? I mean, it's got to. Well, first I'll let you pick.
Oh, this is dynamite. This is the opportunity for people to show off. Okay, Alexa's been gone. Bianca's never really got that push she needed. Nikki Ash is, somebody who was a tag team wrestler, her gimmick caught on. Rhea Ripley, who has the infinite future. Liv Morgan, who is right on the cusp at all times. And Doudrop, who is an amazing talent. In the Elimination Chamber in Saudi to show off, to see who gets the title shot. This is a big deal. Both these Elimination Chamber matches are a big deal. These are going to be matches that will produce moments that people will be talking about for years. That's my prediction. You're going to see some stuff that's amazing, and you're also going to see some of the most insane singles and tag matches.
But Myron,
Holy
you didn't
shit.
answer my question.
What?
Who's going to
My
win the
prediction?
women's? You got to have. I mean, there's really two obvious choices.
I would put my money on Alexa Bliss because she's coming back, and she's been a big time star, and she's the easiest person to plug into a program out of everyone in there.
So yeah, I think it's got to be Rhea Ripley or Bianca Belair to wrestle Becky.
Why chance one of those people versus somebody who has the ability and the, what do they call it? The ability and the credibility to go straight into a WrestleMania angle.
Because I think Bianca does. That's my thing. I think my thing is Rhea looks like somebody who could go into the chamber and win.
Yes.
Like right now. And Bianca
He looks like Brock Lesnar. If Brock Lesnar was a woman, that's what he would look like.
And Bianca though looks like, when I say she gets her rematch from the you know the surprise win that Becky got her to get the belt back when she returned. I think that sets up that story, but you know, that's just my opinion. But yes, you were correct. Of course, then when it comes to women again, Lita versus Becky for the title match.
Lita. Hall of Famer Lita versus Becky. How awesome is that?
I think that's probably your, look, Ronda. Think about this, Myron. Look, I know I'll catch flack for this. I know Saudi, they catch, a lot of flack for doing the Saudi deal and going over there and wrestling. But hear me out. A women's elimination chamber match.
Mm-hmm.
Becky versus Lita.
Mm-hmm.
And Ronda Rousey and Naomi versus Sonya Deville and Charlotte Flair. I mean, that's 3 big women's matches in Saudi.
It's like almost half the card.
Oh, and by the way, women were on the billboard.
In like downtown.
So
whatever it was at. Folks, we can't change the world in one gesture.
Chip away.
But right now, the only people I know of making significant gains for women's wrestling, for women in Saudi Arabia, is the WWE. Are any other American companies, ministries, whatever, making significant change for women in Saudi Arabia?
Do I think some of it's smoke and mirrors by the Saudi government? Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
But at least try to make those, steps, but we're not going to get into the politics of it or anything like that. But it's
an easy step though.
It's
wrestling.
At least make a big step.
Are they Sputnik Monroe? Is this women's roster Sputnik Monroe integrating Memphis? Probably not. But it's a shot and it's trying. So enjoy it. Reverse the blood money, like everything says about Saudi Arabia.
Right.
Maybe they can help a little bit.
And plus, look, you got a lot of good stuff leading into WrestleMania. We're heading down that road to WrestleMania. So, of course, that means things start flying out, the rumors and the stories. The biggest, obviously, one that we've had in the last couple of days, even beyond the Cody thing, is, of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Everybody's like, oh, they've made him an offer. He's coming back. He's going to be at WrestleMania. Okay, first and foremost, if it's true, kudos to the guy for coming back, right? I mean,
how about a Mania episode of the Broken Skull Sessions? You put your other program over that's on Peacock, on a big Peacock, the biggest Peacock show of the year, which apparently Peacock's very satisfied with WWE from everything I've read. They've done very good work for them and created content. So let's look at it, folks.
Yeah.
Should it happen?
Probably not.
Probably not.
But
it's wrestling, so it probably will.
So, and I know you're thinking because of his injuries and all that kind of stuff, but look at Edge. Look at Christian. Look at, like Lita and all these people. Because here's what I ask people all the time is sometimes he is older. He's been going a long time. Your body's had a lot of time to heal. And I put it up to a lot of like Edge coming back. they get to go away. They get to take care of themselves like they're supposed to, get the rest, heal up with all of the advances in modern medicine. And then, 9 years later, these guys go, I could probably do that again. Now, with Austin, I'm sure, if it happens, by the way, it's a one-off. Like, it's a one match, done. Right?
Yeah, so was Lita. She only wrestled in the Rumble every once in a while. I am mixed on this because I'm probably around Stone Cold Steve Austin's age. And my 30 years outside of high school football doesn't mean I can go play another game.
But you also, but you didn't
better.
take care of yourself like Austin clearly has over the last.
But we deteriorate. These people don't deteriorate, apparently, because I love to see these guys come back. I really want to see this. Guilty pleasure. I'll reveal it. I don't want to see him with anybody besides Owens.
Well, okay.
Because it's a tremendous opportunity.
But we've heard Goldberg's name come up. Do we get the match that, everybody wanted in the mid-90s?
I wanted a lot of things in the mid-90s, Nick. And most of them should not have happened. Okay? I got some of them, and they definitely should not have happened. So my take on the whole thing is come back, go out the way a wrestler retires. Come back, put Kevin Owens over. Come back, get a license to print money. Okay?
He already does.
Everybody's going to want to see this. Okay, seriously. Put over your television show on Peacock. If you lose, it doesn't matter. So if you're going to... I always get nervous when these guys start coming back, but it makes sense right now for him.
I just think it's a flex for Vince to show how much money, and when he needs to... Now, it's a flex and it's a show of desperation that if he's bringing him in, or it just could be, look, we got to sell 200,000 tickets essentially because 100,000 for 2 nights, kind of thing. Whatever.
That, you also, for every one of those tickets you sell, you have to make sure a certain amount of people watch it on Peacock to keep that big contract. Okay? That's a massive contract Peacock gave you. You have to continue to deliver every WrestleMania, especially 2-night WrestleMania.
But see, I think you had the card before you even start talking about him on the card. But here's the worst case. What if he gets a tag match? So then that way there's a little bit of a like
somebody else could do the work.
Somebody else could do a little bit of it. He come in, he plays the greatest hits, and he gets out, kind of thing.
Well, look at the Super Bowl halftime show, Nick. They didn't play the whole songs. They just came out, did a portion of their songs. Everybody that recognized it and identified with it loved it. And then they went back.
Yeah.
They bring these guys, they're not in retirement, but Austin's in retirement. He comes out, stomp. Stunner.
Stomp, punch,
Stunner.
punch. Fez press, yes, exactly.
Exactly. Do your greatest hits, play your California, play in the club or whatever, and go off and into the sunset and make more podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, there's because the thing he does have to be careful, of course, is we all are mortal, so he needs to make sure he's taking care of himself. But if you need to take care of your family in their greatest time of need, check out our next friends.
Life insurance may be the best way to provide financial security for your loved ones after you're gone. But what's the right type of life insurance to have? Which do you need, whole or term life insurance? The answer may surprise you. You may want both, because you have both short-term and long-term financial goals. Both types will help you leave something behind for your family. In general, it's more affordable to buy term insurance to cover short-term expenses and whole life insurance to cover long-term expenses if you passed away. Talk to a Woodmen Life representative today.
Well, all right, brother, let's keep it rolling on as we head into, things are always changing and evolving in wrestling, and we've talked about, obviously, with the Cody and et cetera. But the weirdest one seemed to just kind of come out of the blue and happen super fast.
Yeah.
This week, everybody used to, and now listen, what is NXT Level Up? It is, apparently it's the new, they replaced the old 205 Live, thank God.
That was a dead end street, and they weren't even having 205-pound people wrestling.
Well, they essentially, I mean, the title got merged in with the North American title, so that wasn't even around anymore. So,
so you bring in one of Ring of Honor's hottest talents, Quinn McKay, as your announcer. Somebody who's got a big future in the wrestling business, in my opinion. You make it a hot new product. You give it like a video game type name. You start bringing in people like they do on Dark. You start giving people chances to get on television or Peacock, but it's your big thing. So basically you make WWE Dark, you run it up against the AEW Friday night show.
Right. You put it up against Rampage, 10 o'clock, right after SmackDown on Peacock, or for our international listeners on the WWE Network. That's where you'll catch it, 10 o'clock Friday. And like you said, new look, it's very NXT 2.0. But based on what we read, it kind of seems like you said, it will be their version of AEW Dark. You're going to get the guys who are really developmental. NXT's developmental. Level Up is literally going to be like, I think when they start bringing those, those athletes in, that they've done these NIL deals, etc. I think this is where you kind of, hey, they're ready to have a match. Okay, let's don't put them on TV on USA, or let them go out there on this Level Up show, and then when we can earn that spot, then they can go to
make it
NXT.
appealing, make it bright colored, make it hip, get the kids involved.
No.
Give it a cool name, and hopefully it works. I'm for it. I mean, if WB learns from anything from AEW that they benefit from, that's a smart decision.
Yeah, hopefully this is a good benefit. Like you said, it is their version of Dark, so I hope we get some more talents that get some shots and stuff like that out there. Because, we love the indies, right, Myron?
Amen to that. Indie wrestling saves my life.
It's the Georgia Indy Talk section, man. We love, indie wrestling. Crazy weekend this past weekend. Our friends down at Viral Pro had their big show. Tons of stuff. I had to take some notes. I didn't want to miss anything. Bad news. Let's start with the bad news. Sean Legacy appears to have broken his foot.
Oh!
Did a moonsault out to the floor, hit his foot on the guardrail or something. So it's apparently broke. Thoughts, shout out to Legacy. Hopefully he recovers pretty quick.
Nice guy.
Yeah, great athlete, whatever. But the crazy thing is he's still the champion. He retained the championship on a broken foot. How crazy is that? How tough, so we'll see kind of at the next show they have coming up. Let's see kind of how they move forward. If obviously by then he's not healed up. There was a tag team title defense, the All-Star Special and Level X versus the Dawsons for the titles. We obviously, huge fan of the All-Star Special. They have a special place in our hearts.
Yes.
But Level X, man, those two are some talented dudes.
The Dawsons are just brutal. We've seen them at AML. We've watched them on NWA. Hard to put up against those guys.
They're just nasty heels.
Yes,
two big old nasty
heel.
heels. And of course they currently are they retained, they still are the champions. Vegas and Cruel had their rematch from the last show. Cruel this time kind of did what I thought he would do last time, basically just was the monster and he destroyed Vegas. It led to Cutshaw and him brawling post show, so that's clearly he's going to finally get what what he wants. The big news, I was kind of, it was kind of a shocker, is Gustavo made his debut, I believe, or it might have been second show. But he defeated Wade Adams for the Outbreak title, so that just kind of took me in.
I met that Gustavo dude. You met that Gustavo dude at WrestleCade. Very impressed with his knowledge of the ins and outs of gimmicks in wrestling. Very, very positive time I spent with him.
Yeah, good dude. Then, of course, Dream Girl Ellie had a match with Angelica Risk. Both of those two, they actually were in the 6-man on our show. Both of them super talented. Angelica Risk actually picked up the win. She got the feet on the ropes and, got the sneaky win, the old dirty cheating heel technique. But, so I'm sure that'll probably continue on because Ellie's a mainstay there in Viral Pro. Good show top to bottom, it looks. Get your tickets when they, hey, they'll put out the next show when it's coming. Go ahead and get your tickets. I know a lot of people buy them that night, of the show. They bought them already, so make sure you get your tickets.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I always love that. Speaking of people we love, Anarchy Wrestling, man. Good up there at good old Landmark, the Landmark Arena. They have some really good momentum heading into Hardcore Hell, man.
Yes. Couldn't do a better job, in my opinion. They are setting that stuff up. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of stuff, moving parts going on right now, but they're setting the table very well, like I said, for Hardcore Hell. I do strongly recommend, if you haven't been up there and you've missed a show or two, you got to get up there and get caught up.
I am looking to try to make up for last weekend the next time they run, because I think PCW is running too. If we can do a double weekend, because I really want to go back to Anarchy.
Oh, yeah, we won't miss the next one. Yeah, we'll have to be there. I mean, like I said, listen, everybody's favorite wrestler, Nick Halen, is there, being the Shawn Michaels of, Anarchy Wrestling and other places, which we'll see him this weekend. Is that this weekend already? Jeez.
Yeah, Southern Friday is this weekend, definitely.
Oh, God, we'll get to them in a minute. But yes, Nick Halen up there doing his thing, like I said. Speaking of heels, and I think Anarchy emphasizes, and you find out like what you can do at Anarchy. Southern Fried's very similar to this. Southern, like, wrestling heel, J2 Strong, he's your guy.
Yeah.
He knows how to interact with the crowd. It's not about like flippy floppy crazy stuff. It's, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to wrestle. I can wrestle, but they're just not going to like me for what, I'm going to make them not like me. And that's his strength. I mean, that's
people
just my
pay money
opinion.
to see people they don't like.
Right. They want to see him get his ass handed to him.
Yes. And that's like one of the fundamentals. Good heels make good baby faces.
Yep.
Without good heels, you don't have baby faces. There's nobody to pull for if you don't have a bad guy.
Yeah. The problem is sometimes your best heels become your best faces. Like the Undeniable doing their whole New Day gimmick with Dexter. Dynamic Dexter was just hysterical with the horns and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
yeah, that's going to be on YouTube tonight. I cannot wait to tune in and watch that.
Yeah.
I did not make the show, but I am going to hit that YouTube tonight. Sit down here, open some Diet Cokes, and get myself a popcorn and watch wrestling just like I was there in Landmark.
Yeah, man, it's a Wednesday, so there's nothing. Like, you're not gonna watch AEW. I'm just kidding. You watch your Anarchy instead. That's a Myron Wednesday.
Well, Myron loves independent wrestling because independent wrestling. I shake the hands of the wrestlers. I go out and I eat the hot dogs and I sit there and I talk to friends that I've met through wrestling and I socialize with the people I've met and I feel like I'm at home. I've never felt as popular since high school as I have in independent wrestling in Georgia.
I love it because I just like to see the growth.
Yes.
I love watching the growth of the kids, because we call them kids because they're half our age.
We're really old. Yes.
So yeah, I like to see the growth of how far they've come and moved along. Guys like, look, the program celebrated in Anarchy. They went through their whole, their coronation of their titles, and they should well be, because speaking when you're watching tonight, I got a sneak peek of Proc the Croc Johnson versus defeating Jacob Ashworth for the TV title. I'm actually going to share this match on our YouTube channel, guys. This I saw this.
Oh, wow.
It was really, really good. Listen, it's one of those matches where you want to look back and go, dude, it could quite possibly be Proc the Croc Johnson, one of his best matches he's had.
Is that easy to find on YouTube?
It will be. It'll be on it, but I will have it on our page. I may beat them. Who knows? We'll see if I beat them to have it posted.
Because I looked at our page the other day, and those independent wrestling matches you're posting, man, they're getting a lot of views, Nick.
Well, we hope so. That's kind of the idea behind it. So,
wow.
And of course, the big story heading into Hardcore Hell, Will Caution, he's still your champion. He's still holding on. It cut a hell of a promo from what I heard. I honestly did not see it yet, but I'm looking forward to catching it. And of course, that's Jeter return, setting up at the table. So I think that's where we're heading there. So again, if you haven't made your way up to Cornelia, you should, and catch a show there at Anarchy. They're doing some really good stuff.
It is one of the cornerstones of Georgia wrestling, in my opinion.
Yeah, easily. But this weekend, obviously, we hope, we're going to head out to the good old Boys and Girls Club there in Monroe, Georgia, 405 Community Court. Catch Southern Fried. Look, they got a huge, card going on.
What's Todd going to announce?
Who knows? Special announcements coming from Todd. David Ali and Joe Black are going to clash, right there in the main. Yeah, it's crazy, man.
David Ali and Joe Black?
Yeah, for the Southern Fried title, it looks like. The Palmetto Express are going to wrestle a Happy Madness. I believe the winner. Yeah, that'll be a good one. Oh,
Lord. You talk about mixed loyalty there.
Well, they're setting the table, to try to figure out who's going to get to, chase the gold there for the tag team titles. But like I said, I agree, we're torn, right? We love Happy Madness. But then, you spill over from Anarchy to Southern Fried. That Hunter James kid's just a whole different guy. Up at Anarchy, he's a little pain in the ass, and but
developing his character.
But at Southern Fried, man, the women, the children, and they all love him, and they love him and Luca, man. Those two kids are over there.
I'm excited to see if those people that love CT Keys are still going to be CT Keys fans coming up.
Yeah, we're going to see all of that and more there at the Boys and Girls Club in Monroe, man. So make sure if you're out in that area this weekend, head on over to Monroe. Check them out this Saturday. Bell time's at 7, correct?
Yes, that's typically when they do start.
Yeah, they start at 7. I always forget the Saturdays are usually 7 o'clock. So, but man, hey, look, I told you we're going to be sharing those matches, man. And so the easiest thing to make sure when we release those things, you need to subscribe to us right there. You can see the YouTube, subscribe right there in the middle. But you also can subscribe, not just to YouTube if you want to watch the video and the matches we're putting out, but of course, all of the podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartMedia, Amazon Music, blah, 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 all of them. Pretty much any platform that has podcasts, we are there. Make sure you are subscribing, specifically on YouTube. Subscribe, share, and click on the little bell to make sure you get notifications when we drop those things. Because, yes, the show is the same time every week, but the matches, as these guys get them to me, I put them out, just randomly throughout the week. So that's why you need your notifications on, so you get those matches. Of course, if you're over at Patreon, you get the show early and often, all kinds of crazy stuff. And I think what I'm going to do is I did have a Patreon member ask me for a favor, start putting the links to the matches that I'm dropping in the Patreon. And I said, absolutely.
No, that's great.
Yeah,
idea.
So especially the ones I schedule, I think I'm going to go ahead and just release them immediately on Patreon. Just for our Patreon members. So patreon.com/tappedoutpod. Get signed up there as well. And, hey, support us any way you can.
How awesome is it that you've created, and I give you full credit for creating this YouTube network, where independent wrestling is easy to find. Like if you want to see something happening in Georgia independent wrestling anywhere in the world, you can just check out our YouTube. And we have viewers all over the world, do we not?
We do, all over the world, all over the country, obviously. And that was going to be a new change. Somebody did ask me about like, hey, you're putting up a lot of Georgia matches. Can you start putting up like we have friends at Rocky Mountain Pro, Elevate Pro, other promotions. And I said, absolutely. I prefer they have commentary, just because it, obviously it makes more sense. If it has commentary and, everything's there, I will tell you this, I do edit out the entrances because of copyrighted music.
Oh, you have to.
So I usually start the match basically like right at the beginning of the match. I trim the beginning. I know people hate that because they're like, oh, my entrance is so cool. But if you use copyrighted music, I can't really do that. So apologize for that up in advance.
YouTube's not a fan of that.
Yeah. And if you can send me a link, if you've got just the match, it makes it so much easier. It makes it easier for me to get it up there faster. Let's put it to you that way. So Anything else going on this week, man, that you kind of...
No. I'm excited about wrestling. Listen, folks, I'm excited about wrestling. I'm excited to find out what Cody's doing tonight. I'm excited to watch Anarchy on YouTube tonight. I'm excited to find out what happens in Saudi Arabia to build for WrestleMania. Am I fully in WrestleMania mode? Am I in WrestleMania season mode? Maybe not yet, but I'm getting there. And this is a good time to be a wrestling fan. The thing about Cody Rhodes, enjoy it. If I make a joke about Cody Rhodes' thing, I'm joking, people.
Dude, Myron, I put up a picture. Did you see me? It was Jeff Jarrett, Cody Rhodes, and Shane McMahon. And I'm like, oh, a new promotion, get it. And I had somebody say the same thing. It was kind of like, not going to happen. I was like, it's a joke.
Satire.
Well, it's a joke because like every week, Conrad Thompson busts Jeff Jarrett's balls on his podcast about starting a wrestling promotion. So I was kind of like, well, this is just obvious, right? But here, anyway, it doesn't matter, guys. He's going to WWE and he's wrestling AJ Styles at WrestleMania. Enough said. There you go. So we'll leave it at that, right, man? So there you go. There's my prediction.
Right from Nick.
That's what's going to happen.
And if it doesn't happen, plans change.
See, exactly. Tony Khan offered him more money to come back. There you go. So that's
plans change.
Plans change. Absolutely.
Vince is already working on the polka dot.
Yeah. So again, folks, make sure especially if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, share, click that little bell to turn on your notifications to let you know when all the stuff drops. All of the links to our friends' stuff is down in the show notes. Check out our friends over at Prize Picks, where you can do some of that betting that we were talking about. Make sure you do so responsibly. The referral code will be there as well. So help us out for that. Check those. And then, of course, if you're looking to take care of your family in their greatest time of need, call our guy, 678-300-8501, and he'll just take care of them.
I don't spend my money just on anything, but I have trusted in Woodmen Life to take care of my family in any time of need, and I fully back and endorse anything that company does.
Absolutely agree. But well, man, you got anything else before we get out of here?
No, sir. I'm itching to get some dinner in me and watch some wrestling.
All right, man. Well, what's the old saying then, brother? If I've got nothing and you've got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.